Former Prime Minister Gordon Brown joins Susanna and Martin Lewis now for a cost of living crisis special. On your Wednesdays, Good Morning Britain.
Worst maternity scandal in the history of the NHS. Hundreds of babies died or were left with brain damage because mistakes were made by the Shrewsbury and Telford NHS Trust. Parents have spent decades fighting for justice.
Why didn't he survive? Because of their negligence? Because they left him too late? It was like, Cameljit lost the baby. Cameljit lost the baby. So it's my fault. That's what I always thought, it was my fault.
Treat with caution. Britain and the United States warn Russia will be judged by its actions, not words, after Putin promises to drastically reduce combat operations against two key Ukrainian cities.
Well, already this morning, Vladimir Putin's words appeared to be ringing hollow after a night of heavy bombardment on the outskirts of Kyiv and missile strikes right here in western Ukraine. The authorities here believe this is not a troop withdrawal, just a movement of specific units designed to mislead the Ukrainian military.
Off to another party, are we? Shame on you.
Feeling the heat over Partygate, Conservative MPs have been jeered by bereaved families of COVID victims as they attended a dinner with Boris Johnson. The Prime Minister faces further questions over the affair today. And from 7 o'clock this morning, how will the increase in the energy price cap on Friday impact you as the cost of living continues to soar? We bring you a special programme this morning with Martin Lewis, Britain's most trusted man. He'll be answering your questions in a live phone-in. It's a first here on Good Morning Britain. If you have a question, please give us a call for free on 08000 320 223 by 8:30 this morning. You must be 18 or over. And we'll be live across the country throughout the morning, finding out what you at home can do to ease the squeeze and reduce the impact on your energy bills.
And today's weather, cloudy and mild with outbreaks of rain in the south, turning colder in the north, and it's the cold that wins out as we head into the weekend. I'll have all the details of that and more coming up here on Good Morning Britain.
Wednesday, 30th of March, 2022. Live from Television Centre in London. This is Good Morning Britain. Susanna Reid.
Good morning, Britain. It has just gone 6 o'clock. Welcome to the programme. We are bringing you a very special show today because, of course, millions of us around the country preparing for bills to rocket when the energy price cap rises. 54% on Friday, and that is an extra £700 a year on average. From 7 o'clock, I will be joined by Martin Lewis, the man nicknamed the People's Shadow Chancellor. He's going to be here to help you navigate the pitfalls ahead and give tips on how to cope with soaring household bills and tax rises. Love that photograph. For the first time ever on this programme, we're taking your phone calls, answering your questions directly about the changes. So if you have a question, please give us a call for free on 08000 320 223 by 8:30 this morning. You can also contact us via Twitter and Facebook. We will do our best to get through as many queries as we possibly can. Just a reminder, you do need to be 18 or over. So, Martin, the People's Shadow Chancellor, will join me at 7 o'clock. First, though, our main news this morning, a landmark inquiry into the worst maternity scandal in NHS history will be published today. It is expected to conclude that hundreds of babies died or sustained life-changing injuries because of failures in maternity care at Shrewsbury and Telford NHS Trust. The review examined more than 1,800 cases over 2 decades. Lorna Shaddock is at the Royal Shrewsbury Hospital. Lorna, the number of children whose lives lost is truly shocking. What went wrong?
Well, Susanna, that is exactly the question that two mums whose babies tragically died here were asking when they wrote to the Health Secretary back in 2016, looking for answers. And that is what eventually, because they pushed and pushed, led to this inquiry by senior independent midwife Donna Ockenden. It's taken 5 years, and she'll be publishing her full findings later on at about 10 o'clock this morning. But she did publish some interim conclusions in 2020, which found, among other things, that the Trust here was unwilling to learn from its mistakes, that it wrongly blamed families for their children's deaths, and that there was a culture of trying to keep the number of caesarean sections down. Now, the Trust is waiting for the report to be published before it comments fully, but it has previously said that it takes full responsibility for those failures in maternity care, and it has offered its sincere apologies to the families affected. And of course, as you say, there are so many families affected. Those two ladies back in 2016 referred 23 cases to the inquiry. Donna Ockenden ended up looking into over 1,800. And it is those families who will be waiting and hoping for some answers finally today.
These are all he's, and I'll always keep them till the day I die.
Kamaljeet doesn't have any photos of her baby boy. She can only show me the clothes she excitedly bought him when she was expecting.
Yeah, it was the first one I bought, and that's the one he was going to actually come back home.
Little Manpreet died within hours of his breech birth in Shrewsbury in April 2003. Kamaljeet says she was denied a caesarean in time to save him.
Why didn't he survive? Because of their negligence? Because they left him too late? That's what I always thought, it was my fault. At one time, I was at the stage where I didn't want to live.
Kamaljeet and her husband didn't know it then, but they were among hundreds of families in Shropshire whose babies died or were left disabled or brain damaged, mostly between 2000 and 2019. After 2 delays, senior midwife Donna Ockenden will finally publish the findings of her 5-year inquiry into what happened later on. It's reported she'll say over 200 babies' deaths could have been prevented.
I don't know if the truth